Sometimes in Magic the Gathering, you've got to take some risk to get that reward. Do you still remember the first time you heard this phrase? The greater the risk you take, the greater the reward potential can be. And the less risk you take, the less reward there'll be. There's no difference between that and the MTG finance world. You know, I look back in 1996 and I look at that reserve list, and I'll tell you right now, I didn't even know it existed in 1996. I was playing with friends, having a good time. I didn't care about really if there was a reserve list or not. It didn't even come to my attention in my small town until well later, into my, 2003. And I remember finishing school, I was starting to work, paying a student loan off, and I remember popping into the old card shop that I used to visit right here downtown Toronto. And I walked in there and I was just browsing. And I remembered Magic. I'm like, hey man, this is pretty cool. Look at all these cool cards. I wasn't even actively playing anymore. I had stuff at home, but I wasn't really playing, right? And I looked in there, I saw some cards that caught my eye. They were Candelabra of Tawnos, Guardian Beast, and Ali from Cairo. I still have those cards in my collection today because you're right. I bought those cards. But as a person who was newly working, I had rent to pay. I had bills everywhere. I was just getting ready to buy a house and I took a risk. I bought a Candelabra of Tawnos for $40. I bought that Guardian Beast for $35. And I bought Ali from Cairo for $25. That was $100 of my paycheck gone to buy these three cards that I had somehow lost out of my collection. I had them as a teenager and I really enjoyed them. And I looked ahead and I said, this is a lot of money to spend on just three Magic cards. But I remember trading these away for like 10, 15 bucks. I don't know. I got to get these cards back in my collection. Such good memories, right? It'd been like 5-6 years since I actively played any games with friends. And for some reason, I bought those cards. And I talked with friends about that years later. And you look at these cards worth thousands. Ali was what, $700? Guardian Beast, $800. And Candelabra of Tawnos, we're talking, what, $1,500 Canadian, up to $2,000, depending on the condition. And yeah, I got those cards in my collection still, because I just love them. They're just epic. They're part of my nostalgic upbringing in Magic the Gathering. But in this finance world of Magic, where the older cards have started to harden in price, which means when I look at those cards, they don't fluctuate really downward very much anymore. They kind of go up and down a little bit, but there's a certain expected value because so much money has been pumped into those cards that nobody will sell them for really less than what they paid. It would take desperation to make somebody sell that low and accept 50 cents on the dollar because they're like, I spent thousands getting that card, or look how much this card is worth. I could never let it go for less than that. And that is the risk those people took years ago. In the finance side of Magic the Gathering, when you take a risk like that, if you're doing it just because you love the card, you won't even notice. And you will look years later, after you've bought that card, and whatever card it may be, and you go, wow, this card really went up in value. Or on the other hand, you go, wow, this card really went down, like it crashed. I mean, I remember buying fetch lands for $5, $6. When Khans of Tarkir came out. Windswept Heath and stuff was like $5. Polluted Delta, $7. I made a killing on those cards because I took the risk to buy those cards, spec on the market, and flip it. But those values could have gone to zero. So yes, I made thousands of dollars buying and flipping those fetch lands over the next, I want to say 12 to 16 months, whatever it was back then. I'm not looking at my spreadsheet, but I made a lot of money doing that. And I helped a couple of friends sell theirs too because they believe that same vision. It just can't be this low. It just can't. But when I enjoyed a card, like, Ali from Cairo, Spectral Cloak on that, Illusionary Mask flipped upside down, which doesn't work anymore, you didn't care. So if that card went to zero, I didn't care. But newer cards, I may care. If I'm flipping and specking on a more modern card, like maybe a Mox Amber, maybe I care. And I want to get out while the getting's good. I want to make some money. I understand that side of it. And everyone has their own risk tolerance levels when they're dealing this. But you have to understand that if you pick the right card If you picked, I don't know, we're going to use an example. I love Team Thrall. I love Thrall Champion. If you take Thrall Champion, it is a 2/2 for 1 black, 4 other. And it gives all Thralls +1/+1, and it can tap to take control of target Thrall. Amazing, right? Amazing. No, not really. But that card can be broken. If Wizards gives tribal support to Squirrels, why won't they bring Thralls back? We know we're going back probably for Phyrexia, right? But you never know when they're going to bring back a set like that and say, hey, we got to tap into some old nostalgia. Pick these cards. So they go back and say, hey, Thralls were kind of underrated, man. They're really powerful, and they've never been defeated. The Thralls are awesome. And they bring Thralls forward. Do you think really that the 57 cents that I spent on those 60 Thrall champions when I started collecting them, you think I won't make my money back? The card's what, $10 now because of all the people who have bought it just saying, hey, Team Thrall? But if that card ever gets broken, it could go to $50, $60, $100, maybe higher. Maybe it'll stabilize. Deranged Hermit, anyone? You don't know what Wizards has planned or what they're going to do, so it's very hard to tell what cards will go up. So those people who are brave enough and bold enough to risk some capital buying older cards, even janky, worthless, reserveless cards, you can call them insane, you can call them crazy, call them whatever you want. For some reason they want to buy that card thinking maybe something will happen one day. Is really risking 57 cents that much money? A couple of cups of coffee for all the copies I bought? Yes, the price has risen since then, and yes, I'm still buying it. And I'm adding it to my collection. You never know what's going to happen. And that risk reward from all the past experiences I have had, it does temper what I do. I don't just go out and blow money. I budget out what I'm allowed to budget, and then I spend it freely. Sometimes I have to wait longer and build up a larger budget of money put aside to buy a card I want. To buy sealed boxes to keep and hold on to and watch those investments grow over the years. But that's the risk reward of things. I am risking money, my hard-earned capital, that this game is... I'm betting against the house that this game goes to 0. I'm betting against longer print runs. I am betting against the reserve list not being reprinted and never coming back around. That's what the investment side of people are doing when they invest in this game as they invest in real life. You're hoping a company does better, provides more profit, gives you a larger dividend. You are investing in the idea that that can happen. And a lot of people just say, you are just out of it. How about, is that an easy way of saying it? You're out of it. You have no idea what you're talking about. It's gibberish. I get it. And this is non-financial advice from a guy who is not a financial advisor. I'm sure you know where to find one if you need one. And maybe my nonsense advice doesn't make sense to everyone, but it doesn't have to. It has to make sense to me. And it really does. Because when I bought an Alpha Time Twister for $2,000 cash, and I tripled my money on that in a year, how do you think I felt? That's right, I was pretty good. And when I bought that Urza's Destiny box, you see my background, not behind the cliffs here, but behind my background, and you see that I spent $2,000 cash on that box. And it's worth, what, $7,000, $8,000 now? You think I'm not happy? This game, this investment that I make, sometimes it's an investment side, sometimes it's the play side. Sometimes I just want to have some fun. But I don't just dive in and start cracking open old product and things I've held on to. It doesn't happen. I'm not looking for that Goblin Wizard, maybe a City of Shadows, but I may not be looking for those things. And how many sealed packs are left? You see, you're hedging your bets. I am taking risks every day and building that portfolio of cards and investments that I love. I'm going to hold on to them. They go to the Mox Vault and they sit there and they look pretty and they smile back at me. And yes, some of the things I will buy and sell over my lifetime. But I'm pretty sure most of my reserve list cards are staying right where they are as I slowly accumulate more. And that's what I like to do. And I look back on all those times I've seen patrons and people on my Discord and emails from people and people I've met at local card shops. And we go through some of these scenarios and we talk about these things. And some of these stories are awesome. And you see people who may have bought something on my channel and maybe they bought some of the Wheel of Fortune when I said to buy it for $50. Or they went and they bought Copy Artifact at $18 to $20 when I told them to. And they come back with that smile and say, hey, I bought 10, I sold 5, I made all my money back, I get to keep these cards now forever, and it doesn't matter what happens. Great for you. You took the risk. Now you get that reward. Awesome. That just makes you feel good. And I know there's also those stories that say, you know, I bought a lot of Utter End. It was an instant, destroys things. I love that card. Cost 4. I bought foil ones for like $25 each. And I lost all my money on those investments. It happens. But I didn't buy 100, did I? No, I bought 8. Still $200 though. Still hurts. But it happens. Not every investment's going to turn out the way you hope in real life or in Magic the Gathering. But the rule kind of applies the longer you hold on, especially if you got OG original cards, first printing of cards, it really does seem to work out in the long run. The longer you can hang on to that sealed product and let other people open theirs, the longer you can hold on to those near mint copies as you buy them and not give them up, that's how you get ahead. That's how you build your wealth and build your investment portfolio. And not just in Magic, but in real life too. You can't just eat takeout every night. You start building your investment. You start putting money away. Your money, what's somebody tell me? When you go to bed at night, your money should be making you more money. Even if you don't have a lot of it, it should be earning you money. And I've taken that to heart and worked my way through it. I still buy Magic cards all the time. You guys know I do. I add things for the channel. I add things for my patrons whenever I get the opportunity. And I take those risks based against the knowledge that I have over all these years, 29 years of playing this game. From the silly mistakes I made as a teenager to the epic successes as an adult. And you know what? It's all just part of the story. You'll make those decisions yourself wherever you are. But risk-taking, it can have a really big reward as well as pitfalls and downfalls along the way. I'd love to hear what you guys think in your stories inside the comments section. I think everyone has something to contribute to a comment section like that. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. Remember, risk and reward. Measure it carefully in life. Have a great day, everyone. And of course, a big shout out to all the patrons who take a chance on me each and every month. You're taking a risk, and thank you so much for doing so. Patrons make the world go round. Patrons on this channel rock. You guys are at the end of the video. Gonna go over some stuff. I got my spreadsheet here, and we're just gonna have a little bit of fun. So thanks a lot. Well, first we'll do this. In case you don't want to watch the whole thing, Smite the Monstrous. It's going in the 10K bin. You ready for this? This is a collector edition time walk with trimmed corners. Collector time walk, trimmed corners. Okay? Trimmed. $15. Here is my near mint collector edition. $6. This is a collector edition Mox Jet. $8. This is an unlimited Mox Sapphire, heavily played, $2,000. 2020. Those ones don't count. Collector edition Black Lotus, $8. Mox Emerald, heavily played. It's got some, right there, some heavily played. It's hard to see there. $700, and I paid for it here in Toronto with toonies. Literal just piles of toonies. And then a clipped corner, collector edition Mox Emerald, $16. Risk reward, right? Seeing something that nobody else sees before it happens and willing to risk everything to get it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me. Everyone, if I could give you a big hug right now. Big hug and have an awesome day. I'll see you guys in the weekend for the Hot Top 10 and the Hot Top 10 Reserve List videos Saturday and Sunday. Enjoy, guys.